Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing a fun one. This one we're going to be counting down. We're going to be going through a total list, a complete list of all named character deaths up to the start of The Walking Dead Season 8. And I will put the link in the description to these lists from undeadwalking.com so you guys can go ahead and check them out for yourselves should you want to see a particular season or particular character that you might at this point have forgotten. And spoiler warning, of course. So to start our list off, we're going to go all the way back to the very first season of The Walking Dead. Get ready for some nostalgia. We'll start from the very beginning and we'll work our way up to present time, which is the start for The Walking Dead Season 8. So the very first one of the series, Season 1, Episode 1, let's get things rolling with Summer, who is the teddy bear girl zombie that Rick puts down, Rick kills. Very cool. I've even seen some Halloween dolls made of her, ones that kind of walk around and holding a teddy bear, that kind of thing. So that was the first one. Then we have Leon Bassett, who was a zombified police officer that Rick knew prior that he puts down. We have Hannah, who is a bicycle girl zombie we also know of. And we got to see a little bit more about her in the webisodes, which were released by AMC, many years ago at this point, which is pretty cool just to kind of hear about her and how she kind of became bicycle girl zombie. We have Wayne Dunlap, who also was zombified. And then we start with our survivors. So we have Ed Peltier, of course, Carol's husband, who was killed off in the first season. We had Amy, who of course is Andrea's sister, who was also killed off in the very first season. We had Jim, the mechanic, who was seemed to be a pretty good guy, killed off in the first season. Jackie in the finale, as well as Dr. Edwin Jenner. The first season is actually the season with the least amount of character deaths, as well as the total season with only having 5 survivor deaths in the entire season as far as named characters go. And into season 2, fun season, man. So season 2 starts off, we have a pretty big character death, which is for Carol's only other surviving family member that we know of, which is her daughter, Sophia. So Sophia is killed off pretty much at the start, but we don't know it until the mid-season finale. But in terms of chronological order for the series, Sophia is the first death of season 2. Following Sophia's death, we have Otis, of course, as a result of Shane's actions in saving Carl. We have Dave and Tony in the bar, and then we had Sean. Dale, oh man, I definitely miss seeing Dale in the series. That one is one of the most emotional and one of the ones I remember the most out of any of these for sure. Then we had Randall, Randall Culver, and then we had Shane. Oh man, emotional. So season 2 had a couple of really emotional ones here near the end with Dale, Shane, and then also in the finale we had Jimmy and Patricia. So season 2 was also a little bit shy considering the number of episodes were more. We only had 10 named character deaths in season 2. Season 3, the prison, Woodbury, the governor, all kinds of awesomeness. So this season we start to pick up the pace with a few more character deaths because there's a lot more characters now to be killed off. You bring in Woodbury, you have the prison group there, you add on some prisoners, and all kinds of awesome goodness occurs. To start things off, our first character death for season 3 is of one of the prisoners, Big Tiny, at the hands of some zombies. Following that, we have Thomas, who's killed by Rick, machete with a red handle. Brutal kill, if you guys remember that one. That was wicked sweet, man. Just, oh my god, crazy. Then we had Franklin and Brady. We had Wilson. We had T-Dog. Oh, T-Dog, yeah. Oh man, that one was unexpected. Very, very unexpected to happen at that time, I want to say, and really sad. But he got to go out like a hero, and that's always good. And we had Andrew. Oh man, he was a good villain though, right? He, easy to hate. You're supposed to hate him. You're not supposed to like him, and it was cool to finally get to see him killed off. Then we had probably the biggest in the whole series, I want to say, or at least one of them, Lori Grimes. I mean, it's going to be hard to see if there's ever a character death that has that kind of impact on viewers. A lot of people really did not see that one coming. To see your lead character, your protagonist's wife, be killed off, and it was. I think it was a great thing for the show because it showed that they were going to take it very seriously and realistically with regards to the characters, and that nobody was safe. Like a lot of horror movies, the immediate family of your lead character is not 100% safe. And this one was, really, I'm sure for a lot of people, if they never read the comics, super unexpected. And that made Killer Within, with the double death, T-Dog and Lori, one of the craziest episodes ever, for sure. Then we had Tim and Crowley. We had Gargiulio, who I just remember for the way Michael Rooker or Merle says Gargiulio. That's awesome. And the way he kind of sets him up and everything, and uses him to save his own skin. Very clever. Really love that stuff with Michonne getting away in that. That was cool. Then we had Michael Coleman. We had Warren. We had Donna, who was I do remember that one, of course, coming in with Tyrese's group. We had Oscar, he was probably him and Axel were the coolest, I think, of the prisoners, for sure. Kind of ended up being a good guy and ended up being, a contributor to the group, which was good. We had Haley. I just remember her for her conversation with Andrea, like that one time. That's it. We had Richard Foster. And we had Axel, who was pretty funny. I do miss seeing Axel in the show. It's kind of unfortunate we didn't get to see more with him because he is pretty funny in the comics. He's funny as well, too, and they didn't use him as much in the show, but oh well, what can you do? Then we had Ben. We had Merle. Oh man, this is like pretty much one of the biggest ones for season 3. I mean, the Merle death was huge. At least he got to go out like a champ, but a really fun character, definitely a character, just like Shane and Dale, one of those major character deaths in the show near the end of season 3 there. We had Milton. Oh, there's a character that we don't hear about too much these days, Milton. He was a really fun character, I thought. He was really cool. He was a good guy, and when you're a good guy with the governor, doesn't really mesh well. It doesn't bode well for you. So Milton, personal kind of season character, one of my favorite season characters, I would say. A character that comes in, is only there for one season, and then is killed off. Really fun. And we had Jody, we had Paul and Alan, and to cap off season 3 as like the most death-heavy season ever, we had Andrea in the end of the season, which was really totally unnecessary. You really did not need to do that because you had already killed off Merle. Earlier that season, you had killed off Lori and T-Dog. Oh, man, as well as, all these others here this season as well, too. But Andrea's for sure, that's one of those moments people have asked, like, Trev, why don't you do a video, worst changes from the comics? Yeah, that one for the season 3 finale, that's got to be up there as one of the absolute worst changes in the whole thing. So season 3, a pretty death-heavy season, the most death-heavy we've had so far in terms of, actual named characters. This one had a total of 25. Rolling into season 4 now, so we have the continuation of the time in the television series spent at the prison with one of our biggest core groups we've had so far of survivors. We have basically assimilated all of these survivors from Woodbury into our main core group at the prison, which makes for a lot of characters being as a part of Rick's group or our main core group at this time. We start things off with season 4 with 30 days without an accident. The big spot, Beth, Daryl, the run, and how everything goes down. We do see a main character death in the premiere with Zach, who is Beth's second television series boyfriend. Then we have Clara, we had Violet, the pig. Yes, we'll count some animals here and there if they're named, right? Which was, because we had, the stuff that was happening with the illness around the prison. Patrick, who is kind of the character that sort of starts the outbreak inside the prison when he gets sick. Then we have Charlie, we have Greg, we have Owen, Thomas, Chloe, Ryan Samuels, and some of our pigs, Porkchop, Bandit, and Truffle. So a lot of character names here, many of which don't really mean much to us because these are all like, new characters that have kind of been added in the time skip, and we haven't really spent much time with any of these to really have any of them be that impactful to us, except for maybe Ryan or depending on which characters you might have liked in the short time we had this season with them. Then we had Karen and David, which was pretty sad for sure. The Karen death for Tyrese was really big. Also for Carol and her kind of evolution and where she's going in the series. This was a pivotal point for her, I think, for us to get to see what extent is she willing to go to protect the group, and it sounds like she's willing to go just about anywhere she needs to in order to help the group at this time. Then we have Anna, we have Mr. Jacobson, we have Henry, we have Norris, we have Dr. Caleb, who I do remember because he was helping out with the outbreak there and the illness and what was happening. We have David Chandler. We have Caesar Martinez. So Martinez, you guys remember Martinez, really cool character. Killed off by the governor, of course, with the golf club, brutal, and then the zombie pit. We have Pete, who also suffered his fate at the hands of the governor, brutal. We have Megan Chandler. We have which was a pretty sad one as well too. Well, if you like the governor in that, it's sad for her as well too. We have Herschel, of course, which was, again, one of those major, huge character deaths, one of the biggest in the whole series, part of what made Too Far Gone one of the pivotal points in the series, so definitely a sad one there and one of our major ones for this season. We had Julio Cesar Cedillo, we had Alicia, we had Mitch Dolgan, then we had the governor. So Mitch and the governor. Mitch, seeing him, because he was a great bad guy, really, really easy to hate, really a bad guy we couldn't wait to see. Daryl ends up being the one to do it. That was one of the best moments for Daryl, I want to say, in the first few seasons for sure. The governor's kill, so for Michonne and also for the fight with Rick and everything, that was a huge one, man, for the series. One of the biggest kills in the entire series because up until this point, I felt like he was the best villain we had up until now, of course, with Negan not arriving yet. And it was just a big one. David Morrissey, huge actor, had been in the show for a long time now, a lot of episodes from the start of season 3. And man, the governor was really impressive. And we had Flame, the horse. We had Christopher and his father. We had Lily, which, of course, her and her relationship that she had with the governor and that. We had Lou. We had Mika Samuels and her, being killed at the hands of her sister Lizzie, which was one of the darkest parts in the entire series, I want to say, even up until now. Very dark part of the series. And very emotional for those two, even though they hadn't been in the show that long. They were kind of like seasoned characters, I suppose, or a couple, prison time characters. Still, it was one of the saddest that there was in the entire show for sure. Then we had Len, who was a pretty good bad guy, I want to say, as well, part of Joe's group. And we had Joe. We had Dan, Tony, Harley, and Billy. So all these guys, members of the Claimers. So we basically have the whole Claimers group getting wiped out. I did like them as kind of a mini-series villain, so like a half-season group of villains when Rick and the others were kind of at their weakest point after the assault on the prison by the governor and his kind of secondary group that he gets there in the show. So the group is kind of down. They're separated. They're at their weakest, and then Rick and the others have to kind of fight through with a lot fewer numbers against a group that does outnumber them, but they're able to fight through them and defeat Len, Joe, Dan, Tony, Harley, and Billy. So really cool there near the season 4 finale. A lot of people still really love that finale, a really good one. And then we wrap up with Alex for the end of that season. So that gives us a total of 43, including a few animals, but 43, which makes season 4 surprisingly the season with the most named character deaths so far in the Walking Dead TV series. That's up to season 8. Very surprising, but if you look at the fact that they added on all of these characters from Woodbury, and they were basically all killed off that season, so you had this whole add-in, and pretty much nobody really survives that long term. Nobody really, unless you want to consider like Tara, because her group, that kind of comes into season 4, but as far as like the season 3 Woodbury group, Woodbury is basically gone at this point out of the show 100%. So 43, that's crazy. That's a lot. And into The Walking Dead Season 5. Man, a lot of people really like Season 5. I think it's because it has really great variety throughout the season. You have a lot of different little story arcs throughout. You've got Terminus and the Hunters finishing up. You've got the Beth stuff with the hospital there, and the Dawn and those set of villains there, grouped there with the police. And then you have in the second half, time on the road, and eventually to Alexandria. So to start things off with Season 5, for our Season 5 deaths, we start off with Sam, which is it's funny to see because I always think of the Penguin from Gotham because he's it's a pretty big role for the actor, and it's crazy to think that he was in The Walking Dead so briefly, but he was there. Then we have Mary, who was of course Gareth's mom, and so that was pretty cool in the premiere there, where Carol kind of goes in and storms the place. We've got Gareth and the Hunters, so that includes Mike, Albert, Teresa, Greg, and Martin, who's the other standout. I think Martin was a really good bad guy. He was, almost as memorable as Gareth, I want to say, as the leader of the Hunters and the Termites, so to speak, the Terminus crew. Really cool to see that finish up. Some really brutal deaths there near the end with the four walls and a roof with the church and all that, so that was really good. Then we had Bob Stuckey, which was a really sad one. We had Gavin Trevitt. We had Joan. We had Officer Gorman, who you guys remember, he's the creeper one, pervy one that tries to come on to Beth. We've got Officer Jeffries and Officer O'Donnell. We've got Officer Bob Lamson, who I do remember that one because that's the one that Rick runs over, which is pretty sweet. So that's a memorable one for sure, and a pretty good group of, I want to say, villains here with the officers, or kind of villains, yeah. Then we've got Beth. So for Season 5, that's probably our biggest death, was the death of Beth. I remember the reaction. That was a huge one. It's kind of the Herschel for this season, or right up there with Andrea, Lori, some of these other really big deaths throughout the series that people really, a lot of them did not see coming, and people really liked her character, Emily Kinney as Beth. Then we had Dawn, so of course Dawn was killed off there as well too. And fitting in for the group. I could really see that group of villains meaning much more to the series aside from that one part, and we'll probably never see anything to do with that story arc again, I don't think. Tyrese, so that one was really sad. Another one of those huge character deaths right up there with Beth and some of the others that we've seen. Got a lot of reaction, but it was really, really sad the way they chose to do it. I like the hallucinations, though. That was really cool to see. And that was a pretty big death as well too. Then there was Duke, the dog. There's Buttons. Nice. I remember Buttons with Daryl, and that was pretty fun. Then there's Aiden Monroe, who had one of the worst deaths ever. Aiden's was super. Oh my God, just really, really brutal. And then even more so than his was Noah's death. I think I did top 5 or top 10 most brutal moments of The Walking Dead, and both of those were up there, or most brutal deaths. They had 2 of them. Noah probably has the worst death ever, to be honest with you. Even worse than Glenn's later on. Noah's was terrible. Reg Monroe at the hands of Pete, and then eventually Pete to round off the season. That ends Season 5 with a total of 24 character deaths, which is less than Season 4, less than Season... let me just check here. So yeah, Season 4 had 43, Season 3 had 25. So a little bit less than both of those seasons, but still quite a few, and a really fun season, I think. Like I said, had a lot of variety in it. Now going into Season 6. So if you guys don't know me or you haven't seen many of my videos, Season 6 is my favorite season. Really love Season 6. What an exciting season all the way through, going from the No Way Out story arc, starting with the huge amount, the mega zombie herd, going into the appearance of the Saviors, with eventually Negan coming in at the end. Man, what an awesome season. Love Season 6. So to start things off, we start off at the beginning there with the huge mega zombie herd, and we have the death of Carter, who's a character that wasn't really in Season 5. He kind of shows up there as kind of a background Alexandrian that sort of stands out in Season 6, as many of the others here as well do too. They kind of get cast in after Season 5, and they kind of just appear in Season 6. Heath is another one of those that kind of returns from a run, like as if he's always kind of been there, but not really. Carter's one of those guys. So Carter's death was pretty exciting as part of the premiere there, and a bit brutal too. He gets kind of shushed after he's killed. We find out about Enid's parents, so I suppose you can count that. You've got Shelley Neudemeyer, you've got Richards, you've got Alfred, you've got Aaron, Holly, Michael, Stacy, Barnes, Sturgis, Tommy, Annie, David, and then we got Nicholas. So a lot of these characters here, you probably don't remember, you probably don't hardly recognize at this point in the show. Again, similar to season 4, they added on a lot of characters with Alexandria. A lot of them were named, but we never really got to see much with them. We had JSS, which was a very exciting episode where you have the wolves attacking, the wolves descend, and really exciting, and you have a lot of these kind of, I want to say like, red shirts that are killed off as part of Alexandria. So quite a few names here without that much meaning for a lot of them. Then going on from there. So Nicholas with Thank You, that was a big one with Glenn. That's definitely one of the most memorable ones. And such an exciting time for the show with that amount of zombies and the storyline and everything. Man, really incredible. Then we had Tabitha. Oh, Tabitha in the flashback, right? I guess she counts. And then we've got Eastman. So Eastman should count as well too. Eastman and Morgan. So that was good. Liked him as a character. He was really kind of cool and good for Morgan. Then we had Betsy. We had Deanna Monroe. So that was a pretty big one with Deanna. That's just one I remember a lot. I really remember the music that they used. That's something I remember a lot from that episode, start to finish. It was a really sad one for her, but I thought it was really good. It's kind of to show like the Alexandrians really didn't have what it's going to take to survive in the zombie apocalypse, but they had a pretty good run, and I liked what they did with that. Then we had the group of saviors. So we had Bud and his group, T, and kind of the other unnamed ones that were with them. We had the Anderson Massacre. So we had Sam Anderson is what starts it. Really brutal, No Way Out. Probably still my favorite episode ever of the TV series. We had Jesse Anderson. We had Ron Anderson. And then, so really just, really, really crazy stuff there with Michonne kind of protecting Carl, Rick, and the others. And just, No Way Out was insane. Then we had Owen. We had Ethan. We had Donnie, Molly, Michelle, and Paula. So the group kind of in same boat in that. I really hated Paula as a villain. She was really rough. I did not like Paula at all. Really scratchy and everything. I was just glad to see she got killed off. Hated her. Well, I guess maybe you're supposed to hate her, so it's what it is. Then we had Denise. Oh man, Denise Cloyd, Tara's another girlfriend that she had in the show because she was with Alicia earlier than that, even though Alicia was a villain. But with her and Denise, that was a pretty sad one and really exciting there near the finale and kind of came out of nowhere. Really liked how they worked that in. It was really surprising for the viewer, like shocking, like, oh my god, you don't really see it, and boom, it just hits you like it hits her. Yeah, that was a really good one. Then we have some saviors. So we had Neil of the Saviors, we had Miles of the Saviors, we had Jiro of the Saviors, and we had Roman of the Saviors, which I do remember with his kind of, fight with Carol and what happens with that, and Morgan kind of having to kill in order to save her. So season 6, action-packed season all the way through. Crazy amount of zombies, crazy amount of new saviors coming in there, and that will finish up the season with 36 total named character deaths, which is the second most of the show that we've had so far, only after season 4, which has the most because of the prison and the group that they add on from Woodburn. Now we get into season 7. So we start things off season 7 with probably the most hyped episode of any series ever, and I really do mean that. I mean, before this episode, before the season 7 premiere, The Day Will Come When You Won't Be, there was so much hype. It was just unreal. It was absolutely unbelievable. Maybe the most hyped part in the entire series. So we start that off with the double death, of course. Not difficult to remember these ones, right? Not going to forget these ones. Abraham to start, so he's the first death of the season. Followed quickly afterwards by Glenn in the double death premiere. Really crazy stuff, really brutal. We've been talking about it all year. It's affected the show. It's affected, AMC's direction. And, oh, man, it was so huge. And, those two, if Laurie's not the biggest death in the series, and I think Glenn might be. I wouldn't say Abraham because his is kind of like there. But then when it happens to Glenn afterwards, it's like, wow. Definitely one of the most death-heavy moments in the entire series. Maybe trumping Killer Within as like, the most surprising for a regular regular viewers, whom it wasn't spoiled for or anything like that. So crazy double death in the premiere. Then we follow that up with Gordon, with George, with Chris, with Fat Joey, I do remember that one, Isabel at the hands of Michonne, and then we have Spencer Monroe, we have Olivia, which those two were, they were something, but I wouldn't say they were huge character deaths. I just kind of want to say that they were there. They were pretty big, but they weren't like Abraham, Glenn, Tyrese, Beth, some of the others. They were there somewhat. Emmett Carson, right? So the older Dr. Carson. Then we have Benjamin, who that one was pretty recent, so we can recently think of that one. I would say Richard, and then at the hands of Morgan, and then we follow it up with David in quite a brutal fashion that was just like straight out of the comic books. And finally, Sasha in the finale. So even though there's all the craziness and chaos in the finale, really Sasha is the only major character death or named character death. And I'd say that one is a big death. That's in the same league as Abraham and Beth and some of the other ones, Tyrese and some of the others that we've had. Very big death to finish off with Season 7. And that brings us up to current date, getting ready to get started for The Walking Dead Season 8. Season 7 has a total of 13 character deaths, which brings us to a total tally, including animals and a couple zombies near the beginning that were named, of 156 total character deaths in the index right now. So after Season 8, if you guys want to see this again, what I can do is I can basically add in the Season 8 and we can keep a running tally season by season. It's definitely one of the shows that has the most character deaths of any series ever, that's for sure. Very exciting all the way through. It changes the show. You have different rosters around. You have characters being killed off, other characters coming in as new, and are some survivors, a few survivors that survive throughout the entire series. So there it is for you guys. If you wanted to know how many deaths that we pretty much had per season, there it is for you, with Season 4 being the biggest character death season, and some pretty big ones all throughout the show. So what I want you guys to do is I want you to leave a comment below, and the comment I want to see is, which character death did you feel like was the absolute biggest? Which one affected you, impacted you the most? Which one was the most emotional for you? Just talk a bit about it. Write a comment below. Let me know what you guys think. I want to see where you guys are at with this, and just so I understand, too, where the audience is. What was the biggest episode deaths for you? Was it the Season 7 premiere? Was it The Killer Within with the death of Lori? Was it maybe Beth or some of these other deaths throughout the show that we've had? So write your comments below. I hope you guys liked the video. If you did, don't forget, thumb it up below, guys. If you're new and you want to subscribe, please don't forget, subscribe to the bottom left. And that's it for this video, guys. We'll see you again really soon for another one. That's it for our updated character death index. It's Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon. What do you want us to do? I don't know, viewer. How about a subscription? Do you think that might be in order? Or is that too much to ask?